Colfax. National Association of Counties, Smith, with Brown as the alternate. Mendocino County Resource Advisory Committee, McCowan. North Coast Railroad Authority, Colfax. North Coastal County Supervisors Association and Redwood Empire Association, Colfax. North Coast Integrated Regional Water Management Plan Technical Review Panel, Brown and Smith. North Coast Resource Conservation and Development Area Council, McCowan. Policy Council on Children and Youth, staff. Northwest Forest Plan California Coast Provincial Advisory Committee, Smith. Remote Area Network, McCowan. Red Valley County Water District Advisory Committee, Brown. Russian River Watershed Council, Brown. Retirement Board, Smith. 5 County Transboundary ESU, Brown and Smith. Solid Waste Hearing Panel, Pinches. Workforce Investment Board, McCowan. And then Chair Pinches will serve on the Juvenile Justice Coordinating Council, North Coast Air Basin Council, Domestic Violence Council, and Safety Council as needed.
Supervisor Colfax?
Did you want to go?
No, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to suggest a change, if I may, and that has to do with the North Coastal County Supervisors Association, and that has been assigned to me. In fact, I may have even put it down. Having a deep interest in remaining on as the NCRA, North Coast Railroad Authority, and also being assigned to the to MSWA. Both of those are Wednesday meetings, one of which is generally out of the area. And last year I was assigned the North Coastal Counties Supervisors Association and made 0 meetings. I think it's more important that we have somebody who can do this, because 2 of the 4 Wednesdays are all other matters notwithstanding. 2 of those 4 meetings on a month, pretty much on a monthly basis or thereabouts, are jammed, and meaning I could not attend an outside of the county meeting. The North Coast Supervisors Association meetings are pretty heavily loaded with matters of interest to Mendocino County, but I've not been able to accommodate that. I wonder if we could either make that a staff responsibility, which may in fact be more effective in seeing that that is integrated into that line of activity, or a supervisor who would like an opportunity to travel around the North Coast a little more than I have time for would be my my preference.
So actually, in looking at that, that's actually 2 or different organizations.
Right, well, that's what I'm anticipating. It becomes even more.
Would that be appropriate to leave that for staff?
I don't think so. It's a supervisors association.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're correct on that,
Yeah.
Supervisor.
So, well, are we, I'm looking for a volunteer. Anybody want to serve on that?
Tom Mitchell,
Mr. Chair.
Chief Executive Officer. I'm not sure we've staffed that before.
Yeah.
But
Well, like Kendall brings out, the one part's the Supervisor Association. It's a 2-part. REA is different than the North Coast, not North Coast, North Coastal, which is all, you know.
If I may, Mr. Supervisor,
Sure.
the
Yeah, you
I
started this.
indicated the Redwood Empire Association.
You stirred this up, so you come up with a compromise here.
Well, my concern is Redwood Empire Association, I don't know when its meetings are. If they are on Wednesday, it's a problem, but I would be happy to carry REA, but I know the North Coastal County Supervisors Association, which has been grouped with it, incorrectly, I believe, is something I will not be able to attend on a regular basis, and I think it deserves that kind of attention. And I compare it with, to some extent, with the Policy Council on Children and Youth, which we now have staff looking at that because of the demands of that particular position. But the North Coastal Counties Association, if we are going to have membership in the organization, I think it deserves more than
If-
nodding acquaintance.
If it's all right with my colleagues, I'd be willing to take on that responsibility. It can't be a couple of meetings a year. If, I'd be willing to take that on.
It's more than a couple meetings a year,
It is.
Supervisor. That's why I'm not willing to be
Well, maybe we
casual
can,
about it.
I can pull the board and delegate some of the meetings. Do it that way.
Mr. Chair, I would check and see Supervisor Brown may have an interest, and if so, I think she'd be an ideal representative for that position.
Are you willing to take that on?
Yes. And I hope my calendar allows me to be active.
You'd be a good representative. Thank you.
Thank you. And I would be willing if you couldn't attend or something, I could fill in for you.
So just to clarify, the block that we had as Colfax midway down the sheet that has the joint role of REA and NCCSA will now be Brown.
Right.
And up higher on the chart where it says CSAC Coastal Counties, that will remain Smith and Colfax.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments on these appointments from members of the public? Okay, with that, there are no other comments?
We have a motion.
Supervisor Smith suggested consideration of a finance committee. You feel it's more
Well,
appropriate?
That's an agenda item. We're specifically dealing
Okay.
with these today.
Okay.
If we're getting
Future.
into that,
Okay.
or maybe it'd be called a budget committee, that would probably be we could even form a standing committee or an ad hoc committee, but that's not for the discussion. That's on our agenda here today. Okay, so with that, I would entertain a motion on,
We have one.
we have a second? We have a second?
Yeah, so it'll just be as
Okay,
amended.
is everybody aware of the changes? Okay. Let's vote by the button, please.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we're going to move on to agenda item 8D, discussion of possible adoption of resolution setting the structure for standing board committee meetings. Christie? you want-
This is a formality as required by the California Government Code, although these committee meetings have already been reflected in the master board meeting schedule. So if you could just consider the approval as presented.
Any board comments? Any members of the public want to speak on this scheduling structure? No members from the public? Okay, I'll bring it back for hopefully a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Supervisor Smith and second by Supervisor McGowan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Motion approved, unanimous. Item 8E, discussion of possible action regarding board ad hoc committee assignments. This is kind of the same as the formality. Christie?
Board ad hoc committee assignments, you should have a list in your packet, and we have some carryover assignments, and with the board composition change, we thought we would schedule this for you to make a determination on whether you'd like to. There are 8 current committees, I think, and 4 or 5 of them have new board members. So we can either have single board member continue to serve in an ad hoc capacity, or you could look at the composition change, and I would defer to council on any ad hoc committees and potential Brown Act considerations when we have changes in the board composition. For instance, Supervisor Delbar served on the 2003 ad hoc with Supervisor Colfax, and it may make sense in that case just to have Supervisor Colfax remain as an ad hoc committee member of 1. That might make the most sense for that long-standing committee. On the other hand, there was a referral in November to a new water ad hoc committee that has not yet convened, and that was Supervisor Pinches and Delbar, so that one may require a different assignment.
Before this discussion starts, I'd like to make a suggestion. Maybe if we put Supervisor McGowan in the areas where Supervisor Wattenberg was serving, and Supervisor Brown in the areas where Supervisor Delbar was serving. That gives you consistency with the districts, and that's just one suggestion, but Supervisor McGowan?
Well, that may be an appropriate suggestion, but I find it odd that we have board standing committees